those questions. The most important thing I would like to say is I want to thank the community as far as just the incredible support that we've had here during the playoff run, and quite honestly, during the regular season, we're going up and down. I just can't thank the community enough as far as what it did for our hockey club, what that building was like, and I don't know how else to put it except to say thank you. And I know it's a bit of a letdown that we're not playing here today. I do think Game 6 was our best game of the series, and I wish we could be out there again with the group with our community here. But hopefully we'll keep on building and have more nights like that. But it's just so much appreciated. I speak for my players, I speak for the organization, and more important, I speak for myself that it was just incredible. So thank you.
To that point, John, did you notice as the team left the ice, as it got to 3-0 the other night, the way they responded to you guys?
You know what? I'm under a rock at that time. I'm not. Yeah, that's a hard time for me knowing that we're done. I didn't see anything after the game, but I know they were there, still trying to push us along, even though they know the game's over. So that it's just so much appreciated.
John, you talked about after that first round and everything, the people coming to your house and things like that. I mean, you guys got a glimpse of what this can be like around here if you go even further in future years, didn't you?
Yeah, it is. We certainly. I'm not going to be a fool. We took a step in the right direction. I hope we can see how difficult it is to keep on going. But there are so many good things going on in our room now. And in talking to Yarmo and the management group, so many really good pieces coming here. It's an exciting time for us. So, just sit there, hold a little bit, let us get back to work here, and we all know how difficult it is to get in. But we're going to keep on trying to go about it the right way.
John, to that point, do you have a process you go through to digest a season, a look back, a postmortem, if you will?
Yeah, and it's real early for right. You know what it is? It's like the world's spinning around and spinning around, and then it stops. It is. I can use the word difficult. There are many people going through a lot more difficult things that I'm going through here today. But within a team concept, within a team sport, it's a difficult thing for me because I do think I love the way our team played Game 6. I'm not sure. I certainly can't make any promises of Game 7, but I thought it was a series that deserved to go 7 games. I do think Rask just got better and better. I thought he was the main difference as the series went on.
Will you ever go back and look at the season as a whole, and are there lessons you want to take from it? Maybe not right now, but is that something you do in the offseason?
Yeah, not right now. I'm just trying to swallow what we just went through and just try to get my bearings. But yeah, I as I said to you guys, it's one of the most interesting years I've had with a group of men and all the things swirling around this club right from day one, and then watch them band together through a lot of different things. So, I keep a running diary as far as some of the things that we went through, how we attacked it, did it work, did it not work. That's always what a coach is doing as you prepare, as you continue to try to go and progressing with the team.
Do the whys behind the up and downs matter, or is it more, to your point, the notes of how you address them and how the solutions worked?
No, there's always whys. I think if there's no whys, you're not going to improve as a coach. You're not going to improve as a player or as an organization to ask the questions why. So there's a number of different things, at least the way that I go through. And then, I just write things down, and I think your game plan it changes. The game's ever changing, and I think you need to change with it, especially the way how athletes are.
Torts, are you banged up at this time of the year here? But without being specific, how much did injuries play into what you were able to do and not able to do as a team throughout the winter?
No, injuries had nothing to do with it. We had 3 defensemen out, but that just gives you a look into seeing some of the depth we have in our back end that came through. And Clendenning stepped in. Kooks, Harry assumed more responsibility. Remember, I wasn't even playing Kooks at certain times this year. So, no, the injuries, all teams go through it. All the injuries, no. That had no bearing on it.
Are you anxious to get to July 1 just to see what shakes out and what kind of team, at least you'll know more about next year?
No, I'm not even thinking of July 1. I'm sure coaching staff, managers will have conversations regarding what our team is, but no. And I echo with what Yarmo said, I think, to you guys after the game.
Yeah.
You want to be a Blue Jacket, be a Blue Jacket. I think the in-between stuff, it happens. It's part of the game. Players in between, lengths of contracts, stuff like that. I'm not begrudging anybody, but we're trying to put a stamp on what this place is, what this organization is, how we run our business here. I think our community put a stamp on it, not just for us, but really for the hockey world. I've received so many different texts from a lot of people, different people in organizations about what our building looked like in this type of situation. So I think the people should be proud of themselves. And so July 1st is July 1st. When that comes, that's part of our business. We'll go about it.
John, how do you quantify the playoff experience that this team got, this organization got, winning a series, playing 10 games in the postseason? How do you quantify that?
Yeah, you have to be really careful. I don't want to put it in a bad vein. I think a lot of good things happened within the few weeks that we played. Found out about a lot of different people. Found out about a lot of people in a really good way. Found out about people in a way that we were surprised as far as how they reacted. That's how you have to go about it. You have to be honest about your assessment when you get into these type of situations. I know we went further than we have before, but I say that's great. It's better than not doing it. It's better, but I still emphasize there is still so much more we can see now. We can see how much more work is to be done to continue to go. So you take the good, some really good stuff. We have some question marks on other stuff we see with our players, but also feel very comfortable that we want to keep on trying to ride and go further, and because there's a lot more to go.
What's the 2 years ago you came in here and talked about good being the enemy of great, and you're big on effort and the mental part of the game. So what should be the biggest takeaway for these guys after going a little bit farther this year, going into this summer?
Yeah, and the operative word, again, I say it we went a little farther. Beating Tampa, I'm sure that's a good thing, and I think that's what kind of put us in a situation in where a belief is a very strong thing. It's a very strong thing as far as the mind's concerned, and I think our players experience that banding together and believing help them go further. The mental toughness of our team, I think, grew. I don't think we're afraid of things. I thought we were a little nervous beginning of Game 6 for our first couple of shifts, but then we were on our toes the rest of the night. That's a huge step as we're playing in an elimination game, because that's a different feeling in an elimination game. I hope the core of the team understands that it's not always about physical skills. It's not always looking down the lineup and saying they have this, that, the other guy, and they have more talent. That belief is a very important part of winning, and I think we experienced some of that.
John, in retrospect, Game 4, as you look back on Game 4, was that kind of where the series might have turned?
Game 4, is that when we took the penalties?
Yeah.
Well, I think Game 4, I'll put it to you this way. I thought a very important part of beating Boston was to control their top line. we 4 out of 6 games, I thought we did that. Game 4 was when we stepped off. We allowed them to score a couple power play goals. They started feeling it. I think that spilled over into the next game, into Game 5. Game 6, I thought we did such a good job against them. I think all three of them, they had 3 shots, 1 shot apiece in Game 6. I think we had 21 chances. They had 10 or 11. We did all the right things in Game 6, neutralized them. Their depth showed a little bit, and Krejci scores and makes plays, but I think the difference was Rask. He got better and better, and 5 posts, pucks hitting him. That's the difference in Game 6 for me, and quite honestly, the series. But we allowed their big guys to get going in Game 4, where we lost our discipline. But those are 2 things that we can take out of the series in playing against a seasoned Boston team, is the discipline and just the patience. We turn a couple of pucks over. We could have won Game 1. I don't think we really deserved it, but I think teams went through the series not deserving to win certain games. When you start getting down into the numbers of the series, I think we lost a little bit of our patience, and that's where Boston is so strong, is just staying with it.
The things that happened in the locker room this year, was there a growth in it, taking ownership that can spill over into future seasons as well, with some of the way these guys grew from like a leadership standpoint?
I hope so. As I said, it's a lot of things went on, and I think it was a very honest locker room. It's one of the most honest locker rooms I've been around as far as some of the things we had to talk about. And I don't think you can do nothing but grow from it.
John, when the players come in for these meetings and they're getting ready to go out for the summer, just generally speaking, what's the message you try to convey to your players as they get ready to go out?
I don't speak to them. I don't hold exit interviews. No, I don't. Yarmo's holding exit interviews. If players want to talk to me, they'll talk to me. I prefer to do it. It's a little bit different for me. Yarmo has other things that he needs to go over with them. I've been talking with them, talking at them for a number of months. They don't need to hear me right now, so I usually wait a couple of weeks and we'll talk on the phone, or if I'm in town, or go see him somewhere. Yeah, so I don't. I leave them alone. I've talked to a couple just because I'm here today, just to say goodbye and talk about a couple of things, but that'll be in a more casual type setting for me. It's a little bit different with managers talking to players, because there's a number of things they need to talk about that really I don't need to talk to them about.
John, JD was saying after the game that part of what makes this painful, other than just losing, was the opportunity that was there. Because I know you focused only on single games, but other teams had gotten knocked out. This was kind of the year of the underdog. You guys were one of them, and his point was Boston's got a great chance to win this. And if you could have got that one more step.
Yeah, you know what? I look at it a little bit differently. I do, and I heard it. I mean, it kind of fueled me through it all, that no one really talked about Columbus. We were the team that just opened up the door for everybody else when we beat Tampa. No one talked about us before we entered that series. And when we won that series, it wasn't what we did, it's what we did for the league. So I look at it this way. I think the teams that are in it still deserve to be here. They have played that well. So I am not going to say that it's wide open because Tampa's out, Nashville's out, Pitt's out, whatever. It's unfair to the teams that are in it. And hockey's a funny game. There's a fine line of winning and losing. The teams that are still standing deserve to be there, and they're going to be formidable as teams try to come through their city.
We look forward. We don't know what's obviously going to happen this summer, but you have talked a number of times about Yarmo's ability to assess talent and bring talent in here. I mean, is this a time where you just basically, as the coach of this team, you got to put your faith in this hockey ops department, that they're gonna give you a team that you're gonna be ready to roll forward with?
Yeah, the organization has done a terrific job as far as the drafting and some of the young kids in the organization. Our Cleveland team gets in this year, and so that's the lifeline of a National Hockey League club, is all the things, all the grinding that the organization does. I have full faith. And Yarmo talks to me. I trust his opinion, but he trusts the other people under him too that are doing a lot of this legwork, looking at these kids night in and night out in these barns that they're playing in. The organization is in really good hands as far as just keep on feeding, because it's an ever, as we're going to see here, I think, as people leave, it's an ever fluent situation as far as young kids coming to your team. So I have full trust in, I've told you in Yarmo, absolutely, but the key is Yarmo trusts his group that are doing a lot of that legwork.
John, you've worked obviously with a lot of GMs in the league. How is maybe Yarmo either different, or how is your relationship maybe different with this guy than maybe other guys? I know that each one's individual, but assess your relationship with him, because we keep hearing that you guys work very well together.
Yeah, we do. I think, and I'm not going to compare it to other GMs. The way Yarmo and I work are straight up, face to face. I think sometimes when there's situations and you don't really feel comfortable in saying some things, or your thoughts about a guy or thoughts about that situation, sometimes it slips to another guy, and that other guy gives it to the person that you're really supposed to be talking to. Happens a lot, not just in hockey, but in business, period. It doesn't happen that way with Yarmo. It doesn't happen that way with me to Yarmo, Yarmo to me. And are the days always us rosy around the building here? No, but the days are always honest. And I think that's, as we keep on going through, I think that is what's helped our relationship. I still don't agree with some of the things he says and what he feels, and he feels the same way about me as we start today. But I can trust that he's going to say it to me. And I think he trusts I'm going to say it to him. I think that's very important, especially in this business where it can get all muddied with too many people involved in between the two people that should be talking.
John, you said if you want to be a Blue Jacket, be a Blue Jacket. In your mind, what does it mean to be a Blue Jacket?
Oh, I don't know, Lori. What I'm saying there is I just think when you're in an organization, you don't want to have one strand of that rope that you're pulling. You want to grab it by the knot and pull. We need people with that type of mindset. And this all, I don't think this is on to Brad and Bob.
No, I didn't.
No, and I know, but it's an easy thing to correlate to that. It's part of the business. Players with their contracts expiring and they have a chance to be a free agent, that is their right. That is part of the business. I just think if we want to keep taking steps, and you can see how difficult it is to keep on taking more steps, that has to be there. And you talk about believing when you're playing. You got to believe in the organization. It's got to be you if you want to take these next steps that I think we need to have.
John Bradshaw's name came up in the conversation for Ottawa's coach. What have you seen from him as far as his ability to teach and lead?
You know what, with Shawzy, that is a really, he'd be a really good candidate for that job, because I think some teaching needs to be done. And again, I don't want to overstep my bounds in speaking to the organization, but I believe it's a rebuild. They got some kids there, and as I've said, I think Bradshaw has is one of the smartest hockey minds that I've been around, and I think that's very important as you try to put a new foundation under an organization. Very good at teaching, handle themselves very well. He's patient. There's a lot of good qualities about him to become a head coach. I'm very fortunate to have two of them, and him and Brad Larson. And I've heard that too. I'm not sure if anything came out today or anything like that, but I've heard that along the way. I'd love to talk to someone there if they wanted to talk to me, and I'd give them as much information as I could.
John, players speak of taking a little time off before they get ready for next season. When do you dive into what you want to accomplish next year?
Well, I think as coaches, it's always, we have development camps, we have a draft that we're not totally involved with, but we give information and conversations with Yarmo as far as what we think our needs are. So you're constantly talking about hockey. We'll have the kids come in after the draft. You got Traverse City, so it's turned into more. Although I think it always was a full-time job for a coach, but you're needed in certain spots more than just having the summer to be thinking about somewhere else because all these camps have come into play to look at these kids. So it doesn't totally shut off. But like I said, it's not difficult. It's not like it's 12 months out of the year. The way this has gone this year, like today for me, it's really weird, and it's weird for me every year this year when things stop as far as the day-to-day stuff you have to have during the regular season and during playoffs. So yeah, we'll digest this, try to get through it, and then you're always preparing for the next year.
This isn't a performance question, but Riley implied that he and you were great exchangers of text messages?
Riley
Nash.
Nash. Text messages?
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the hell he's talking about.
Okay. He was saying a lot of his feedback came through text message, and that just didn't sound like a John Tortorella thing to do.
Well, there are times, I don't think so. I'm not sure. No. Unless I'm out of my mind. Yeah.
I
Which
couldn't
could happen.
imagine you
Yeah,
sending a text message.
Yeah, well, I have sometimes when I can't get to him and stuff like that, but not to the point where that kind of caught me off guard. Yeah. Maybe he's out of his mind.
It's always possible.
Thanks.
We good?
Thanks, Torch.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.